Hi, you're very welcome. And in this video, what we want to look at is a scenario that actually a woman gave to me in class. She had a number of sheets here, let's say January, February, March, April. All right, you can see you've got apples, oranges, and bananas there in different locations. All right. And essentially what she was kind of struggling with was that, for example, if you came along to a different month and let's say, you want to get coconuts, but it was over in October, it was actually kind of a bit tricky to somehow for her to, the current setup, she had to actually get that. So I had a look at it, and what I've done here is I'm going to use a combination of what they call the indirect formula, indirect function, and some ifs. That's basically going to reference the sheet names, which are up here. Now, I will kind of say to you that I'm going to use a formula here to work around this, but that's not the ideal thing. What would be better to do, I mean, this is a workaround, but what would be better to do is basically have everything in one location and then run a pivot off it. But I do understand that's not always the case, and that's not the way always things are set up. So first thing I want to know is I've got a summary sheet here, which my formula is going to go. And then I have all my sheets down here at the bottom for each month. And I've already got my data set up on it. Now, one thing that's important to note is that the names you have up here, which are the names of the sheets, need to be exactly the same as what you have down here. That's really key. If they're not, your formulas won't work. All right, so that's just tip number one. They need to be the same first of all. Right? And then I've also got apples, oranges, and bananas here. So what we're going to look at here is I'm going to put a link to a tutorial I have on the sum ifs, and I don't think I've done anything on indirect. Well, I'll also put a link, as I say, in the show notes to a tutorial on indirect, which is kind of a fiddly kind of function, if you like. All right. So what I might begin is just a very quick review of, let's say, you'll see the tutorial to the sum ifs down below. But just a very quick reminder of how it works, formulas, math and trig, down to sum ifs. All right, so just a reminder of how it works. Sum range, basically this is the column or the columns you need to add up. And then you're going to have criteria range 1 and criteria 1. So your criteria range 1 will basically be your list of entries, and your criteria 1 will be what you want to match up from that. So for example, you might say, I've got a list of all the entries, but I only want to add it up if it's matching apples or oranges. Right? But we're going to tweak this a bit with the indirect formula to, to actually do that. I've done here, you can see I've got the formula set up here. Right? So what I've done is that I haven't put an equals in it yet to activate it. So I've got indirect, all right, and it's basically saying B3. So let's see what it says in B3. B3 is January, all right. So it's basically saying match the January, all right. So if you notice here, it's saying B3, and then your little quotation mark, and then your little exclamation mark, and then you have B colon. So what this is doing is that if I go down here to January, right, you'll see all my numbers are in the B column. Okay. So when I come back to summary here, the first bit of it, I'm just going to highlight over here, is basically saying, add up or get the total column where it matches January. All right, and the idea then is to be able to copy it across, and as you copy it across, it'll find the total in each of those. Now this does rely on the total that you're adding up to be in the same column in all your in all the sheets, which in this case is going to be column B. Okay, that's part one. Part two, the second bit of the indirect, is you're also saying look at B3, which is the sheet January. Okay, and it's going to be saying look there at column A. All right. Okay, so column A, and if I go down here to my January, there's my column A, and this is like my apples, oranges, and bananas. And if I go to the formula, it's saying basically B3, okay, go to sheet with the name that's in B3, okay, look in column A, and then find the match of the apples that's there. And then as you copy it down, do apples, oranges, and bananas. So let's activate this. There you go. Copy it down. All right. And what I'm going to do then as well is copy it down. It's okay, A6, yeah. And let me just go here to my January, February, March. The bananas, yeah. Okay. Now, if I look here, all right, when I copy it down, it gave me a 0, and this is kind of a good learning moment. I look back up in my formula, what this actually should be A4. So let me delete that and put an A4. looks more like it, and then now copy it down. Yeah, okay, now we're sucking diesel. All right, and what I'm going to do then, if you notice up here, I've also locked the row reference up here to my months, and indirect, I've also then, B3 is also the name of the sheet, and A is also locked, and then I've also locked the A4. I've got entries here as well. There you go. Right. Now, one of the things my user had was that, okay, what happens, for example, you know, if you end up where you need to have a different item or items are not in the same location. So let's see what happens in that scenario. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to show you two kind of different scenarios. So let's say, for example, I'm here, okay, and the first thing is that I suddenly remember in January, yikes, you know, there was an extra consignment of apples I got. So if you look up here at the moment, it's saying 3971, all right? But if I go down here to January and I type in apples, and I say I'm going to put in 1,000, all right? And if you remember, the apples are 3971. If I go back to my summary, it's now saying 4971. So even though it's not in the location, it has matched up the apples from that column. Okay. Now let's do a different scenario. For example, I've come here to August, okay, and I realize that, you know, I need to add sunscreen in. So I put in sunscreen here. And I'm going to make that 2,500. So remember, this is August. I've added sunscreen. And if I go back to the summary, remember, you always have to match up. And if I type in sunscreen here, all right, and don't forget now I'm going to need to copy down my formulas. Remember, that was in August. There you are, it's added that to it. All right. So just the use of these particular set of formulas can just basically allow you to add up, if you like, across, you know, across sheets and across different items. I hope you found this useful, and I suppose just to finish off, let me get my totals, auto sum, and then just copy that down as well. I might just do my auto, might have your total, you could have your totals up here if you want it at the top instead. Just maybe make that bold and then a bit bigger, and get my total here as well. All right. So I hope you find this useful. Okay, I'll give you the blank sheet will be there, and also this completed sheet. All right, mind yourself, take care, bye.